Hey guys, how are you all doing? I know a lot of you may not know me, but actually I'm the one who's been running this channel the whole time. And I've decided to try and chat with you directly in this video. I want to say thanks to all of you who've been following the Hakai channel and ask that you bear with me as I'm still learning, okay? You guys have been asking a lot of questions in our recent videos and making a lot of critiques. So in this video, I want to respond to your comments and explain a lot of stuff you've been criticizing and asking about. Stay tuned to the channel and let's jump into the video. Hakai. I'll be mentioning some of your questions or critiques and I'll be answering them, alright? So first off, what is SBS? This question popped up in our last video responding to comments, since this acronym was in the video title. The acronym SBS stands for Shitsumon Obochoshisuro, which is a Japanese phrase that means I'm taking questions. This is something started by the creator of One Piece, Ichiru Oda, as a way to address questions and feedback from his manga readers. We took this idea and made it a feature on our channel where we answer your questions about our stories. So when you see SBS in the title, now you'll know what it means. Moving on to the next question, why wasn't Jiren chosen to be the god of destruction? So like a lot of peeps had this question when they were reading Dragon Ball Hakai. It's cause they think Goku wasn't the best choice to be the new god of destruction. Like there were other warriors out there in the multiverse that could have been way better, like Jiren. I mean, he's not only super strong, but way more mature than Goku. What's funny is that Goku himself asked this in Dragon Ball Hakai. When they had that goodbye meeting, he was all like, why just me and VEGETA? And why not Toppo or Jiren? They've got better qualifications. Daishinkan replied that Toppo was already lined up to take over for Belmond in Universe 11. So in Jiren's case, even though he's super powerful, he wasn't being trained by an angel or a Hakaishin, which is a really important prerequisite. So that's pretty much the answer, folks. Goku and VEGETA got picked simply because they were already being trained by an angel or a Hakaishin. And unlike Toppo, who's already set to replace the god of Universe 11, Goku and VEGETA didn't have that commitment yet. Actually, considering Goku became the god of Universe 6, it's very possible VEGETA will become the next god of Universe 7 at some point, since he's now the only disciple of Beerus and Whis. But that's a topic for another video, and if you have no clue what I'm talking about with this whole Goku god of destruction thing, I'm talking about Dragon Ball Hakai, which is one of the biggest fan stories of Dragon Ball in the world. And in that story, Goku becomes a god of destruction and has tons of adventures as the Hakaishin. If you want to get the scoop on this story, just head over to the channel's playlists, and you'll find a bunch of videos from this series. Or go check out our website debrakai.com, where you can read all the chapters. And hey, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball Hakai and want to support its creation, you can do it through our Patreon. Even the smallest amount can support the manga, and you can nab some exclusive benefits from the channel. For more info, just click the link here in the video description. We're moving on to the next question now. This next one is actually a bunch of questions all about a specific topic. Who are these demon gods mentioned in Dragon Ball Hakai? Will they pop up at some point? Is any demon god gonna face off against destruction god Goku in the future? This whole demon god chat has piqued some interest, so I'd like to break it down a little. Demon gods ain't just made up for Dragon Ball Hakai. They've been around in Dragon Ball for ages and have been mentioned in the anime, manga, spin-offs, official guides, interviews, and loads of other places. In Dragon Ball Hakai, demon gods get a mention in Chapter 2, when Goku and his buddies find out that the Kais and the Kaioshins are born from a special tree called the Kaiju tree, and they learn that if the tree's fruit is all rotten, the divine being that comes out is a corrupt god, you know, a demon god. So it goes like this. When a regular fruit grows on this tree, a Shinjin is born who can become a Kai, like the North Kai. But when a fancy golden fruit pops out, it makes a special Shinjin that can turn into a Supreme Lord Kai, like Universe 7's Shin. So when a normal fruit is born rotten, a corrupted Shinjin is born. This evil Shinjin is called a Makaio, which is pretty much like an ordinary Kaio, but bad. And when a special fruit is born rotten, a corrupted special Shinjin is born, called a Makaioshin. It's pretty much like a Kaioshin, just evil. In Dragon Ball Hakai, Bura is an example of a Makaioshin, which we saw in the Majin Buu saga. But lots of people also asked if any Makaio or Makaioshin will show up in Dragon Ball Hakai at some point. If that's gonna happen in the main story, we don't know yet. But it already happened in a side story called Dragon Ball Hakai, special the story of Bios. In this story, where Bios' past is detailed before he became a god of destruction, we get introduced to a former Makaioshin called Demiurgos, who was a major pain in the neck for Bios in Universe 7. Now this special is a short manga that you can probably finish off in a day or two, but it's honestly a pretty cool story, so if you want to check it out, it's up on our website too. Nope. And the million-dollar question is whether Goku, God of Destruction, is gonna lock horns with a demon god someday. But the truth is, I don't have a clue, cause so far the manga hasn't hinted at that scenario, but I wouldn't rule it out. It could totally happen one day, considering this topic wasn't just mentioned in the manga for no reason. I think that covers everything regarding the demon god questions. And before we jump into the next questions, I want to ask you guys to give this video a like, just to show that you guys enjoy this type of Q&A content. If this video gets a lot of likes, I'll definitely make more videos answering your questions on this channel. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to know everything there is to about Dragon Ball Hakai. Plus, you'll always be up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball, this channel is totally for you. Anyway, on to the next question. Why was Champa the god that got kicked out and not Sidra? Considering Sidra had the worst rating. This is something a lot of people have a problem with because many believe that the Hakai Shin who should have been kicked out is the one whose universe has the worst mortal average. That means Sidra from Universe 9 should have been the one to go. Well, I've got two answers as to why they chose to fire Champa instead of Sidra. There's the narrative reason and the reason relating to plot consistency. So talking storyline, it obviously packs a bigger punch if Goku becomes the god of destruction for Universe 6 rather than being the god for Universe 9. Universe 6 is way more exciting because it's got stuff we already know from Universe 7, like Saiyans and other cool things. Plus, Goku spent way more time with the folks from Universe 6 and he's chummy with them. What's Goku even gonna do in Universe 9? Get to know the planet of animal warriors? Have a face-off with Bergamo? That'd be a total snooze fest, guys. So that's reason number one why Champa got the boot. Out of all the universes, Universe 6 would be the most groovy place for Goku to hang. The second reason for sacking Champa could be because of his acts in one of the early arcs of Dragon Ball Super. Who tried to swipe the Super Dragon Balls? So the reasoning behind Champa getting the boot was solid, cause aside from him doing a crummy job, he did other stuff he wasn't supposed to do. Hence, they made the call that mattered most to the story, and at the same time, made sense for the Dragon Ball Super plot. And I think everyone was thrilled that Goku jetted over to Universe 6, right? The next head scratcher is, why did Champa stay kicking and Fuwa bought the farm? We've known since the Zamasu arc that when a Supreme Kai bites the dust, the God of Destruction bites it too. That's cause they're sort of life partners. That's how Zamasu knocked off the future Trunks Hakai Shins, by taking out the Kaio Shins. But in Dragon Ball Hakai, something offbeat happened. When Champa lost his godly privileges, Fuwa kicked the bucket, but Champa kept on ticking as a mortal. What gives? Wasn't Champa supposed to kick it too? This left a lot of folks scratching their heads. Yo guys, the explanation for this is kinda complex and not entirely clear, but the Dragon Ball Hakai manga addressed this theme and I'm gonna try to explain it here. In Dragon Ball Hakai, a concept called destruction energy was introduced, and according to this concept, when a mortal becomes a Hakai Shin, they receive a source of destructive energy called destruction energy, which isn't just regular energy, but also a kind of spiritual being that starts to reside within the Hakai Shin. The destruction energy is as if it's a part of the life of the god of destruction, and this part is the divine life of the destroyer. So it's as if that mortal who received the destruction energy gains a new life, which is their divine life. In Dragon Ball Hakai, when a mortal turns into a god, they get this divine life dubbed the energy of destruction, and it's this life that gets linked with the Kaioshin. In simpler terms, the godly life of the mortal turned god is tied up with the life of the Kaioshin who is born a god. Now when Champa lost his god status, here's what went down. The Xenos stripped him off his energy of destruction, aka his divine life, but let him keep his mortal life. That's why it's said in chapter 2 that he'll start aging like a normal mortal. But since Champa's godly life got removed, Kaioshin Fuwa, who was tied to that life, kicked the bucket. It's like Champa had two lives, the mortal one and the divine one. But Fuwa, already a born god, had just one life, which was his divine life. That's why Champa stayed alive as a mortal, but Fuwa bit the dust. I know it's a bit complicated, but I think you guys got what I'm saying, and I know you might be asking me this. But Gustavo, when Kaioshin dies in Dragon Ball Super, the god of destruction dies too and ceases to exist instead of living as a mortal. Wouldn't this Dragon Ball Hakai concept be an inconsistency? That's an excellent question and makes a lot of sense, but I think it's different and I'll explain why. When a mortal receives the energy of destruction, that energy becomes part of them, so their life seems to be linked with that energy too. So if a god of destruction dies, their destruction energy for sure dies too. Following this logic, if a Kaioshin dies, the divine side of Hakai Shin also dies, and the same goes for the Hakai Shin itself. So here's the thing about Champa, his destruction energy was removed. It was separated from him. This is not the same as getting killed by a deadly attack, so I think that's why that process didn't kill Champa's mortal side, it only killed his divine side, and as a result, Fuwa Killua also died. But this is a very specific process done by the supreme god of the multiverse. It's not the usual thing. Normally, when a Kaioshin dies, the Hakaishin fully dies too. Anyway, I'm not sure if you guys got what I'm trying to explain here, but if you want, we can make a video in the future just to explain this stuff, and then we can talk about it in a lot more detail. Drop a comment if you guys get this topic, or if you want a specific video just to explain all this. I'm gonna wrap up this video, folks. I think I managed to answer the questions well, but if you still have doubts about what was said here, drop a comment so I can understand, and then perhaps I can explain better in another video. Feel free to comment further if you have more questions or criticism, and maybe your question will be answered in the next video. Remember to support Dragon Ball Hakai on our Patreon if you're interested and able to. The link is in the video description. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to help us reach 200,000 subscribers. Catch you later. Peace out.